not just the coolest theme song in the world, but the coolest voice cast in the world, too. Go ahead, Ben, let him in.
All right. Are you guys ready to see some Ninja Turtles?
Yeah! I love the energy.
Right. You've heard countless characters, including Lotus Blossom. We have Renee Jacobs. You're looking at your stage. Yeah, just look cross around here. All right. This actor has been in shows like The Tick. He's also voiced the Rat King. It's our party dude. Let's welcome Michelangelo Townsend Coleman. Hey, how's it going? We got the voice of Razor from SWAT Cats, also Dr. Fossil from Darkwing Duck. We got Barry Gordon. Give it up for him, who got the machine. I tell him. Hello.
Other Donatello.
Yeah. All right. He's been on He-Man, the 2000 series, and countless other video games. We got our leader in blue and Rocksteady, Cam Clark. Yes, what is your question, sir?
When did they get this old?
The show was like about 40 years ago. Actually, like around 37.
I wasn't even born.
Oh, sir, I was. All right, and last but not least, we got the voice of Yakko and Pinky from Animaniacs and countless others. He is your childhood. He is Zach the Fifth Turtle, the Raphael. Bring up Cool Maroon, Bra Paulson. Hi, how's it going?
What an amazing group, what an amazing cast, and what an amazing time to be here. Thanks for joining us, guys. Thank you so much. Yeah. It's very kind. It's not every day we have a group of people of this caliber with us together. We've got so much to talk about, so many great people.
That's right.
And he's got most of this underway, but I'm just going to talk for a brief second because I'm here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes. Thank you for making this long trip to Atlanta.
Now, you've all been any Atlanta locals here? No? Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's right. So everyone's up.
By the way, the $5 seats are not going for $250. So you guys want to,
Come on up. That's what it's all about. I like that. Oh, look at this. There she is. I love you still got the outfit from last night. Yeah. Oh, why wouldn't you? Of course you saw that. You didn't get rid of it. But let's use it right time. Cool.
look at all you.
There we go.
Now, between all of you on the table, I really
The guys in the back are going, yeah, but what if I want to leave early?
And all of you collectively make up, I do want to go ahead and say, probably the most prolific voice group that we have the honor right now. So thank you so much for all of the things you've done, all of the stuff. And my main question for all of you is, just briefly, when did you get into the business? Was this always the calling? And I'm not going to say what advice do you have for other people in the business, but what is something that is one of the greatest takeaways from any part of your career, whether it's your first job, Ninja Turtles, Animaniacs, anything? And down the line, if we
Yeah, down the line.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be the smart person.
We're getting the oldest to youngest.
Okay, so I started when I was 4, and I guess my big takeaway from that is it's a good time to start because there's very little competition. So yeah, I actually started when I was 4, and I started as a singer initially, and I had a record that had some success, and Then I did a lot of television, and I did all of that before I discovered cartoons. And then once I discovered cartoons, I realized that it was probably the most fun that you can have in show business because you work with incredible people like the people on this panel here and everyone else that you get to meet there. It is the nicest group of people in show business, and it is an incredible experience. And I'm so proud of the fact that I've been able to have success in that area and also to be involved in an incredible franchise like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Not too many people get that lucky, and I really feel blessed every day.
So I started when I was 6. I was mimicking records of Disney and different animated shows down in my basement in Michigan. And fellow Michigander. And my mother thought there were people down in the basement with me and came down to realize it was me. So started taking classes at Michigan State University when I was 6 years old. And from there, I mean, I did.
Dressed like a Spartan today.
That's right. So somebody asked me about this jacket, and I said, "Well, it's Leatherhead. He died. We thought we'd memorialize him with a jacket." Anyway, it's so funny because I started doing. I didn't know it was called voiceover. I just started doing voices. I'm theater trained. I sing opera, Shakespeare, and then full circle to come back to voiceover, which is really my first love, and how lucky, what an amazing experience.
So starting young then. I started when I was 1.
Keep going up.
Yeah, 100 is right. I actually from Cleveland, Ohio, and started acting when I was in high school. So was always interested in acting, but I was also interested in radio too. So I got a job on the radio when I was about 20, and
At
was
the
a rock
biggest
and roll.
rock station in Cleveland.
Yeah, so I was a rock and roll DJ in Cleveland, Ohio for 10 years. And in some of the stations I worked at, I was doing a morning show, and that's where I started doing some characters, but never had any thought of doing cartoons. And so after my 10-year radio career, I ended up moving out to LA 40 years ago. And with the idea, I was just going to be an on-camera actor, but my agent sent me on an audition for a cartoon series called Inspector Gadget. Yeah, so it's crazy. I never even thought about doing this, but I got this part on the show, and I found myself in a little studio with just 4 of us in there. It was Maurice LaMarche, it was his first series. Frank Welker, this guy that I'd never heard of, me, and Don Adams. And I just had such a blast doing it. I asked my agents to send me out on more of those auditions. They did. I started booking parts, and here I is. So.
Well, I started out as a gleam in my father's eye. Yeah, he hadn't known my mom's name at the time. That would come later.
A serious relationship for about an hour and a half.
Set a record. We technically started in 1964 with my family. We had a series on ABC called The King Family, all singing, all dancing.
And excuse me, and honestly, a network series with a whole family.
Yeah.
And it was a huge success.
Just 36 of us.
And in Cleveland, Ohio, when I was like 8 years old, I remember watching this show on Sunday nights on ABC. And this little guy right here, talking about starting young again.
Oh my
you were
God.
like 4 or something.
I was 6.
You were 6. Okay.
I can't beat Barry's. And here's a 7-year-old townie sitting in front of the TV going, "Golly, I hope one day I get to work with that boy."
No lie, when I actually met Cam for the first time and put the two together, he was was a little guy I saw in the King family, I was starstruck. I was like, serious? Oh my gosh, I remember watching you when I was a kid.
Totally. I called my parents.
What?
Yeah. I said, you guys, I'm working with Cam Clark, who's one of the King family.
Right.
Well, that was a big deal. Yeah.
Now you guys are supposed to go, oh, 1, 2, 3.
Frank? I started a little earlier than all of them. I was the entertainment at the Last Supper. I was a stand-up, and my stage name was Shecky and Arimathea. Jesus, what a party that was!
Did you catch that? Because Jesus.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Explain it again.
I gotta tell you, Judas was a great tipper. He really was. The only thing we did karaoke, and he decided to do Backstabbers, which I thought was a really good I'm sorry. My name is Rob, and I'm gonna be an alcoholic.
But he got 30 pieces of silver, which is more than you.
More than I've ever.
Yeah.
Even on my residuals now. Like all of us, we are keenly aware how unbelievably fortunate we are, and like a lot of us, I went to LA 46 years ago, ostensibly to do what I was doing, music, maybe TV, and I did. In those days, it was MacGyver, St. Elsewhere, and history, lots of commercials. But as is often the case, if you go to New York or LA or wherever, you often put yourself in a position to get lucky. And while all of us who have a pulse love cartoons, you don't necessarily think that's going to be your career path. But our timing was excellent because this was just when VHS and satellite, and 24-hour programming, video games, all of that. And I went out, the first jobs I did were transforming the G.I. Joe, and I said, man, all these people, I saw that guy who used to be in Bob Newhart, and that lady used to be in Bonanza, and they're having the time of their lives. So, like Tony, I called my agent and said, look, I would love to do all of it, but I get to play, and nobody cares what I look like.
Wear anything you want to.
I care.
Well, now, the fact that Cam cares notwithstanding, they still don't care what we look like. And that's not necessarily a good or bad thing. It's just so great to be limited only by your creativity. And then we get to do this. And it cannot be said enough. We go home exhausted from saying thank you. Who gets to do that? And it is for no other reason. And I am serious as a people on prom night. It's for no other reason than you guys. We have nothing without you. So thank you so much.
Rob, you mentioned creativity back there, which is a perfect opportunity to segue into this brief activity I'd like us all to do.
Oh, is that why we have the crayons?
Yeah, that's why you got the crayons.
It's a little game.
A Rorschach test. I'd like to call people in LA are telling me I can't draw, so I have to show the doctor what time it is, 9:45 o'clock.
That's next.
You might have other problems though. But the game is called Drawn into Danger, and what we're going to do is you're amazing voice actors and amazing human beings, but the other half of this show was, of course, animation.
So I have nothing to do with the animation.
Nor should you. Of course not.
You did not pay Stacy draw all those characters?
I can't draw a circle.
That's okay. You might lose this game.
I
And
will.
that's it.
There's not even any purple in
So
here.
That's the problem.
You're giving.
I need a purple marker. What's a purple
There
marker?
is not a purple marker in the room. I promise.
You guys are giving Townie and me PTSD from we met on Super Password as contestants.
Oh,
And you just tell them all the prizes we won.
Well, I won $200 in a bet spread.
Nice.
I got.
I do have the bet spread, and I should say I also got a gallon of house paint.
For my friends that show.
I won $100 and a year's supply of
There you
panties.
go. When things were slow, Cam would put them over in space and drop a 7. Necessity.
We want to take them. I mean, you guys don't have to play if you don't want to guess, but we'll have you all draw your character over the course of a couple of minutes.
Okay,
and
so-
the audience will vote on which one is their favorite.
Okay, so
Well, that's
Yeah, your character.
I should have specified that.
Okay, so I got a question. Since Cam is the artist of the group here, is it okay if we hire him as a
He just draws all five. But yeah, let's see what we got. I mean, see what you can do. We got the different colors if you want to. On your mark, get set. It's not. Oh, look how serious it is. It's not that serious.
There's no Leo blue, so I'm already behind.
At least
There it is.
Purple legitimately isn't here, so that's a fair.
Well, are you going to play music, the little background while we draw?
Yeah, of course, that's it right there. Yeah, we'll get that. Jeopardy's the wrong choice. That's not good. Anyway, yeah. This will work if my phone can do it.
You're joking.
Talk amongst yourselves. Please.
I can't even draw.
That's it. Keep drawing. Keep drawing. Go. Got the mask. Got the mask right there. Mask. Perfect. Tell them what they want. It's a trip to Space Camp. You and I guess will fly from Los Angeles to beautiful Orlando, Florida. Great job. Thank you.
That's what I want, John.
That's one of the biggest compliments I've ever gotten. Thank you. Fantastic work. Keep going. 23 seconds. Actually, we're just going to restart the song. Don't worry. The ticking clock is not as important as it could be in this situation. Keep going. Here we go. This is it.
No.
And
No.
I'm gonna play the song one more time. Let him do it one more time.
All right, let's go.
All right, let's let him do it one more time. Continue. Go! Round two. There it goes. Go green. There it goes. Go. Yellow on the mask right here. He looks fantastic. April O'Neil. Yada. That's all there. Talk. Make it intense. This is where the kids pick up the nose. Come on, get the flag. Oh man, slide right to the pudding cup. Right there it is. Oh my goodness, that's it. It's a pair of Reebok sneakers.
Have you ever done
I'd love to go on the voiceovers. It's just easy to talk over music like this, I suppose. We got 10 minutes. You guys are doing fantastic. 15 seconds left on the clock, but let's not worry about the clock. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, turn it off. It's not going to get any better.
Look at me.
All right!
Actually, April, your boobies look cuter than those.
Artistic license. There we go. Let's see what else we got. Rob, look at Rob's. Look at this.
Oh, look at Rob right there.
Mine says, "What me worry."
I love that.
I like the nose.
These are all pretty good, guys.
No, they're not.
Love it.
Oh, where's Cam? Okay, Cam, what is yours? Hold on.
That's how good you are.
Now, right here, this is a true Leonardo piece of art.
And it is a show that we all worked on, right?
Yeah, he stole my joke to say it looks more like Denver the Last Dinosaur.
And that's how good it is because I thought, oh my God, it looks like this. We're on the show. That was Pat. He's my friend. There's so much
Where's
there.
mine?
With a little note that says, "This is purple."
I think you're all going to agree. Who do you think won, everybody? Everybody, right?
I think we're all winning.
She even got the Channel 6 movie band.
Anybody anybody old enough here to know who Carol Merrill was?
Yes.
Let's
I say that so the joke is
Hey, try Vanna White.
Hannah, oh yeah.
There you go.
Everybody did a great job. Everybody did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so if you ever decide not to be voice actors, you might have a career in animation. Congratulations. Yeah. I like that. Oh, you're signing it.
There you go.
That's a true artistic spirit right there.
Yeah, that's the way it's done. We should do something. Anyway, I think
Let's auction them off.
Yeah. She's going to raise
Auction
some
them
money.
and
Let's
ask
auction
some trivia questions. See who wins.
Oh.
You do you have any trivia questions for the audience? You can do yours right now.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you opened a can of
You
worms.
have introduced the game that you are now playing. Congratulations.
Which episode did Nickel O'Neill morph into a cat?
Anyone has to answer for that?
Which episode did it go down?
Raise your hand if you know.
Oh, you guys.
Oh, that was my favorite
Hold on,
episode.
I saw your hand.
The Catwoman from Channel 6.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, to auction this off, who would have made a better Michelangelo?
Alright, what was the first line ever said by a turtle in the first episode of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? And Donatello said it.
All right, Tony. I've been thinking. We're still thinking.
There's the thing. The answer was right there.
Nickel knows.
No? Close. That kind of line, yeah.
What?
Louder.
Chill out,
Oh, chill out. Yeah.
Actually, I think it was Be Chill, Homeboy, but yeah.
All right.
All right, so I'll auction mine off too. So what was the name of the episode where Michelangelo said Buff Links?
No, Buff Links.
Buff links.
Yeah,
I think I saw that porn.
There are clubs and underground land that socialize.
Anybody have any idea?
Look, my other co-host of Turtle Recall, do you know the answer? We've seen this episode. We talked about it.
Come on, we got
I'm looking right at you.
Buff Links.
If you don't know.
Buff Links? No. I'll give you a hint. The title of the show actually has a word in it that rhymes with Buff Links.
And it was aired in prime time.
Cufflinks?
What?
Cufflinks?
No.
Why would they?
All right.
Why would there be an episode with buff links?
There's a great cufflink caper.
The big coupling caper.
The big what?
The big coupling
Big
caper.
cufflink
Yeah.
caper.
He's got it.
Okay. Yeah, dude. What's your name?
Jason.
Jason. You got it.
I didn't think I qualified.
Well, anybody
Yeah,
can answer at this point.
All right, Mr. Paulson.
That's not if you didn't figure that out yet.
Okay, Raphael was fortunate enough to sort of have a girlfriend. Do you guys recall what her name was?
Whoa.
There you go.
Yeah, knock yourself out, kid.
Wait a minute. Shouldn't Mona Lisa have been Leonardo?
Need a little bit more.
Did you steal Mona
Yeah, but you know
Lisa
what?
from
You know what?
Leonardo?
When the lights go down in the sewer, you can't tell what color. Happy together, baby.
Who's touching me there?
Alright, so something I always like to ask my Ninja Turtle guests is this. So back in the late 80s, you get this script. It's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What was your first reaction when you just seen this title?
That my agent had to go to rehab.
Yeah, Rob and I were both working on a show called Fraggle Rock, and the voice director on that show came into our one of our Fraggle Rock recording sessions one morning, pulled out of his briefcase a copy of a Ninja Turtle comic book, and I had never heard of it before. And I looked at it, and my first thought was, that will never fly. That is just too. This is back in the days of My Little Pony and Strawberry Shortcake, those kind of things. So, yeah, Ninja Turtles felt to me like it was a little over the edge.
My first thought was, does it pay?
Yeah, I mean, well, we say this at every one of these events. People often ask, understandably, did you guys ever have any? Absolutely not. When you start working on anything with a pile of someone else's money, and you're surrounded by all these things and people, Phineas and Ferb took 12 years to get greenlit. Yeah, Swampy and Dan had that in their pockets for 12 years, so you never really know. But the upshot of all of this is, I don't know that in my lifetime, certainly there's never been a franchise that is this unstoppable as Ninja Turtles.
No. Actually, that leads into my next question, because all 5 of you have been fortunate to re-voice the characters in various media. I mean, you guys did a car commercial, like, for goodness sake. I mean, how was it like stepping back into those roles?
Well, speaking of the car commercial, it is one of the most indelible memories for those of us that were there. It was the first time we were all four back in the booth.
Yeah.
And it's just, so that's like a time machine for me. And I remember just going, getting a little bit of this. But as Rob has said, the kids who were eating their Cheerios in front of the TV and their turtle PJs were now in charge of advertising agencies. And the campaign was about, do you want that feeling you had Christmas morning? It was a Christmas ad. That feeling you had Christmas morning when you got your first Ninja Turtles, etc. So that was their, how can we get that feeling? And these are the kids that sat in front of their TV, and we start doing our thing. And as Rob said,
These probably 4 or 5 ad people, highly trained ad people, men and women, were going like this. It was and honestly, it bears repeating. We have been so incredibly fortunate to make a living doing essentially what we would do for free. Don't tell anybody. But we get to work.
They could pay you less.
Yes, but we work with people who we would choose to have as our friends, and then we go out and we meet all these new friends, and we find out the extent to which this character is connected people. And I don't care how many times we do this, it is never not overwhelming to see the power of just simply the power of joy. It's that simple, and there is a point at which, look, half kiddingly say, all of you who have parents who bought you action figures, thank you, because please thank them, because my teeth are straight today. But at this level, when we get to come to these events, whether you guys are kind enough to buy a picture or whatever, just coming to say hi, we go home exhausted from saying thank you, and we see this is way bigger than a paycheck. This is way bigger than merchandise. It's way bigger than ratings. It is unstoppable. It's hard, yeah. So it's just,
And one of the things that's wonderful is, we have the great pleasure of touring around the country doing these, but we've also had the opportunity to go overseas as well. So, to come to realize that this is a worldwide phenomenon, and has been for a long time. We had the pleasure of going over to Abu Dhabi a couple of years ago, and that was an amazing trip because, we were meeting folks who were, natives over there, native speakers over there of their language, but they spoke English with perfect English. And I remember asking one of them, "How did you learn to speak English so perfectly? I would never, I mean, no accent." And he said it's from watching Ninja Turtles.
I had the same experience. I was in Japan, and we were touring with a guide. And you know, what they asked me, "What do you do?" So my husband said what he does, and I didn't really want to say what I did. But my husband said, "Well, have you ever heard of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?" And he froze. He froze. And then he started shaking. Now, Japanese men do not cry, they don't show emotion. This man, yeah, he started crying. And then he told me that he had, right after high school, he had come to the United States, had ended up in Oklahoma, in some small town, didn't speak English, and he was going to go to school. And when he discovered the Ninja Turtles, not only could he relate to it as a Japanese person, because you know, Ninja Turtles are Japanese, he learned to speak English from us. And he literally melted and fell into that little boy back in Oklahoma, feeling so lonely. And by the time he left, he speaks perfect English.
When you see 1,000 lovely Arab Emirate folks dressed in their traditional Emirate garb saying, "Turtle power, Kawabunga!" And like this perfect English. I was very embarrassed. The truth is, we can go anywhere, and people who speak English are around to help you out. I can say salam alechem and alechem salam, and that's it. And couscous.
I think one of the guys that was there who likewise learned English from us, he chose to learn his English from Michelangelo. I'm not even kidding. You know, so this guy comes up and he's talking like this. It's such a pleasure to meet you. And I learned English watching you guys. Right on, So if I could get your autograph.
What part of New York is Michelangelo from?
Actually, though, the other thing that's happened, and I always talk about this, is the fact that, I mean, some of these guys might have kept in touch with each other, but I didn't. And so after it was over, and as much as we were having fun, and as much as we loved each other, life goes on, and you go into different walks of life. I was doing all kinds of weird things. So I had lost touch with everybody. And you guys brought us together because through Rob, because Rob said, there's a world out there of these, comic book conventions. And he said, they want to see all four of us. And I couldn't believe that was true, But what happened through that was that now that we've been doing these now for 10 years together, because someone came up to us today and was at one of the very first things.
Yeah, he dressed as Leo,
which was a
Are you
promo
in
at
here right
Nickelodeon.
now?
And that was one of the very first things we did. And he came up because he was dressed as Leonardo in his turtle outfit.
In Florida.
In the
And
summer.
that guy with a giant turtle suit, it's like being in a freaking petri dish.
That's right. But you have brought us together. Now, you look at our phones and the texts are endless and we're constantly, so it's not just coming here to be with you, but it's also that you really kind of created a new family. And
The guy that's here
it's
from
three brothers and a sister that I didn't have. So.
the guy that we're now talking about when he came to my table today, Zach. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And I get, when I said, hey, I want a picture with you, and I put my arm around him, and he's in the big, the huge head and everything, and he goes, I'm just glad you couldn't see that I was crying through the rest of the day under that big head. And of course I'm going, wait, you couldn't wipe them away? That would kill me. But as little stories that so many of you share with us that, from the, hey, I want to take a picture with this guy dressed up like Leo. Not knowing, astonishing what is going really on for him. And you guys have let us know that we have a shelf life.
There is a
shell life.
A shelf life.
I'm going to take the liberty of doing something.
I think I know what you're going to do.
There is, we have a living, breathing example of the power of turtle power. Years ago, I was fortunate to somehow be in touch with my sweet friend from Michigan, Ryan Jean. Ryan has cerebral palsy, and he will spend his life in a wheelchair. Ryan just graduated from Georgia Tech with a degree in mathematics.
A master's degree.
Master's degree in mathematics.
The doctorate for his doctorate.
Yeah.
Doctorate for his PhD.
And we are beyond proud to know him, let alone be his friend.
That's right.
And he and his sweet mom have always gone out of their way to stay in touch with us. And till the day that sweet boy checks out, he will look at you dead straight in the eye and tell you, oh no, this is all about the turtles. And that's where all of us have no trouble being performers, and we know how to speak, sometimes too much.
And he's here.
Yeah.
Right. So your newest Ninja fan has a question over here. Hold on. He's been basically raising his hand. All right, buddy. I don't know your name. What is it? So he's saying that there's he has these Ninja Turtle Aikido toys. They're like little figurines, and he's been playing with them every day, and he loves it.
Oh my gosh!
Hey, I would also just like quickly, since Robbie introduced RJ here, also want to just introduce Miguelita.
Oh my God.
One of our super fans, and also Hope and her husband Kenneth.
Yes.
And Hope to start in a movie that's going to be coming out maybe next year. It's like, oh my gosh. So thank you for all you guys, and Haley.
When we have you guys here, we love sharing this stuff.
Yeah.
Years ago, Townie was there. Years ago, I got to sing the national anthem at Dodger Stadium. And I got done. It was great. I had a thrill. I'm walking into the dugout, and Justin Turner, who's now with the Blue Jays, won a World Series in LA, taps me on the shoulder. And I said, oh, wow. He goes, are you really Raphael? This kid makes $27 million a year playing baseball, right? And he opens up his Dodger jersey. He's got a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle t-shirt. Wow. It has nothing to do with money or station or religion or sexual preference or age. It is just joyful. And you guys are the best.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I had a question, but before I say it, my name is legally April. And so I am old enough that I watched you guys when I was a little kid and say, it means I always had to be April on the schoolyard. But that was
wanted to be April too.
At 5 years old, I was already done being called April, but that was like the only good thing about having that name was April and yellow. And then also, I'm an author, and the first thing I did was when I was little, I used to make picture books and write little Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stories.
Is that right?
And that was for show and tell. I'd be like, Raphael did this, Raphael did that.
Thank you.
Okay, so I want to be a voice actor. I've been thinking about it for a while. I started getting like something tools of the trade. I've always been a little bit nervous about the fact that I have a southern accent. I thought that would affect.
Well, baby doll, we all do. It's all I mean, it's got to happen.
Should I practice trying to at least do a neutral or something?
Totally.
Yes. Would be the quick answer.
Just practice doing any voice, really. Every type of thing might be outside your comfort zone. Just step in there.
You know,
Right,
sometimes
Don't
people
let.
they come up to us and they say, you know, we would like to be in voiceover. And sometimes they have my voice like this. It's very natural, and this is their voice. And people always tell me I should do voiceover, but you have to have more, not just
Well,
one.
Debbie Derryberry and Sandy Fox have just done fine. That is their voice. That is their real voice, and they.
And I've done a lot of work mostly with my voice, which I'm just lucky, you know. But I guess beyond that, think less in terms of voice. Oddly enough, voice actors, they can create wild voices. Rob certainly can do it. Braley, Frank Welker. There's no question that there's a talent to that. Or one, frankly, that I don't think I have as much as others do. But what you also can do, though, is be a good actor.
Yeah.
And mostly it's attitude. Mostly it's what is this character? Who is this character? What is the attitude that this character has? How does this character think?
I mean, when you're talking about Frank, Peter Cullen, Maurice, Tress, when they speak, they sound like normal people, but they're really good actors, and they've been doing it a long. And everybody up here has a live performance background. Everybody. I know that things have changed now because you can record with a guy in Iceland and a girl playing piano in Tokyo in real time. But still, the reason characters become beloved and people want to hear them over and over again, at the risk of being a little bit arrogant, is because they're well performed. We don't draw them and we don't write them. But you love Bugs is 80. And I could watch Bugs on Kill the Web or Elmer all day long. And long before Warner Brothers, Mel Blanc was a really well-trained radio and TV actor. So that is about acting.
So speaking of voice acting, a lot of voice acting, you guys are in a booth, in secluded and everything. Now I know with Ninja Turtles, most of the time you guys were actually in a room together.
In the day, it used to always be ensemble, whatever the show was.
Yeah, and it's much better.
Being an ensemble always
It
play
makes
off
a
each other.
huge
It's the only
difference.
real emotion. It's much easier that way.
Yeah, it makes a
Well,
huge
I
difference.
would
Now,
imagine.
our producer carried it too far.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Because when we couldn't all be in a room together, he replaced the people that couldn't be in that room.
And that's
a very
why.
strange approach. Because
But
today,
industry-wide, they would just do pickups. And one of the people that was there would do placeholder. They would read the role as a placeholder. So the animators could go ahead, etc. But whoever was unable to be there would just come in and do pickups. But not with Uncle Fred.
And I'll be honest with you, that's why I ended up, because they would sometimes use me if James Avery couldn't make the session because he was, doing Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. They'd have me do Shredder with the idea that I was just doing, as Cam said, a placeholder that they could animate to, and then when they got the animation done and sent it back, they would bring James in and replace my voice, which they didn't do. Because of money, they didn't want to spend the money for it, so.
Well, and that's why people often come up and say, I'm a real turtle geek, and there was an episode where I swear to God, it wasn't you. And isn't it interesting now, and all those years later, the irony of going, we're trying to save a little money. $6 billion in worship.
Rob, that does remind me, I'm a little foggy. I forgot what all of the countries were. And I wasn't sure if you remember any of that.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is called a professional segue.
I think.
Well, all right. I want to make, firstly, thank you. And we all can say it to all of you. You guys, all of you represent the true meaning of turtle power. And we're all very proud to know you. Okay.
Are you going to do the new version or the old version?
Well, first let me tell you, there's a really quick story. When we were premiering Animaniacs at San Diego Comic-Con, summer of 1993, and there was a full house, Steven Spielberg, all that stuff. And so they played Yakko's World with the cartoon, and it is remarkable. piece of animation. You don't need to know the show. You don't even need to speak English. It's pretty cool. And so there was, it was a Q&A, and there was a lady in the front row who was dressed. I can only describe that she was dressed as Patti LaBelle as a Klingon, which is kind of redundant, right? It's kind of redundant. And she said, yes, ma'am. This is for Mr. Paulson, your Yakko. She said, yes. She said, did you improvise that song? And I looked at Tom Kruger, the producer, and said, well, did you? I said, I did. In fact, I wish I could stay and answer more questions, but I have to go to a studio here in San Diego and record a song about everybody who's ever played Major League Baseball in alphabetical order. So the answer is no, I did not. The genius, we live in LA. Good singers are everywhere. People who can write that stuff are not. And that's where the talent is. Randy Rogel wrote that, and the countries and the states and all that. So, also, this needs to be said. We love each other so much, and these guys are so generous with their kindness and their heart and their love for all of us and each other, is that nobody ever gets sideways that Rob gets asked to sing that guy.
Well, as long as we're bringing it up.
You still got pantyhose left. You go enjoy it.
Touche.
That's how special these people are. There is no pretense, no ego. And so, as a result of how much I love these people, this song goes like this. It goes, United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru, Republic of Cuba, Colombia, Canada, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Venezuela, Honduras, Guyana, and so, Guatemala, Bolivia, Magic, Ecuador, Chile, Brazil, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Bermuda, Bahamas, Tobago, San Juan, Paraguay, Uruguay, Spain, Athens, Guyana, Barbados, and Guam, Norway, and Sweden, Iceland, Germany, now and Greece, Switzerland, Czechoslovakia, Italy, Turkey, and Greece, Poland, Romania, Scotland, Albania, Ireland, Russia, Oman, Bulgaria, Saudi Arabia, Hungary, Saudi Arabia, Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Togo, Mexico, and Bahrain, then Netherlands, Luxembourg, Belgium, and Mexico, Denmark, and Spain, India, Pakistan, Burma, Afghanistan, Canada, Thailand, Bhutan, Cambodia, Malaysia, English, Asia, and China, Korea, Japan, Mongolia, Singapore, Indonesia, the Philippines, and Taiwan, Sri Lanka, New Zealand, Sri Lanka, New Zealand, Saudi Arabia, Morocco, Uganda, and Malaysia, Booty, Botswana, Mozambique, Zambia, Swaziland, Gambia, Guinea, Algeria, Ghana. But wait, there's more. Randy, listen, Norway, Cumberland, Spanish, Sahara is gone. Nigeria, China, Nigeria, Egypt, and Gabon, Tanzania, Somalia, Kenya, and Mali, Sierra Leone, and Algeria. Now, Namibia, Senegal, Libya, Cameroon, Ethiopia, Libya, Madagascar, Rwanda, Majorca, and Ghana. All Africa, Brazil, Yugoslavia. Mauritania, Tanzania, Malaga, Denmark, and Palestine,
Hang on. Middle here in the front row.
Sang the whole damn
Sang the whole freaking song.
Pretty impressive. Let me tell you, I apologize for how many people have gotten hammered at drinking games because of that. Thank you so much, folks. Really.
That's not really an apology, more than a thank you, I would say. Thanks for doing that. Thank you. That was only me, but they enjoyed it too. Thank you. Do we have another question? And then we got like 5 more minutes. Then we'll wrap this up, I thought that was the finale too, but I guess not.
Thank you for asking.
Rob, you want to know how many countries did you just name?
Perfect. It's so
I don't know. I think it's around a couple of hundred. And there was.
It's all of them.
Yeah, well, and the song is a little outdated because it was done 33 years ago. No, yeah, 30 plus years ago. But Randy did write, because he had 11 minutes on a Saturday. He did write an upgraded version very quickly that goes, Montenegro, Bosnia, Herzegovina, the Soviet Union's gone, South Africa, Georgia, Moldova, Latvia, Belarus, Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, then there's Tajikistan too, Turkmenistan, Kurdistan, Armenia, Tango Palu, Lithuania, Serbia, Kosovo, US Samoa, the Balkans, Brunei, Macau and Crimea, then Eritrea, Ukraine and Estonia, here's Macedonia, New Caledonia, Eastern Slavonia, Ivory Coast and Cape Verde, Andorra, the Solomon Islands, Dubai.
Same guy. All right, I have a question.
And the fact that you memorize it.
How did you memorize?
Yeah,
You meant it.
Honestly, it's like anything. We're actors, and I've had Migo.
But
You know,
that's tough.
yeah, but you do it long enough. And honestly, when you look at it, it's a remarkable piece because Randy, rhymes pretty much all the sovereign nations of the world. But then he goes in North and South America, then to Europe, then to Asia, then to Southeast Asia.
So you do it in chunks.
Yeah, if you do it, there are 4 separate stanzas, and you get the first one from United States or whatever it is.
So,
Yeah, right.
so the first time I heard this song, I'm thinking, God, Robbie it's been like 50 takes to get that straight. How many takes did it take you, Robbie?
How about this? How's this for a throwback to commercials that are the world may never know? Well, this is because these people love me and they tee it up for me because it makes me sound like a big deal. It's just one take. Like I said, I was beyond fortunate to get any of this one. But a show like Animaniacs that is music heavy. There are any number of actors who could have sung it. I'm grateful to have gotten it. But I'll make this a quick story, but the truth is that the bar was set so high from the beginning. It was the first song written for Animaniacs, for Yakko, and the first song I recorded. And Randy Rogel, who wrote that, was already writing on Batman, the animated series, for which he won an Emmy, right out of the chute. Great writer. And he hears about Animaniacs across the hall with all this music, and he goes and says, "You guys, my background is musical comedy. I sing, I dance, I write this stuff. Dude, you just want to Emmy for Batman. Just do that." It took them a month before they said, "Look, all right, go home. You've got the Bible of the show. You know what it's about. So in the context of Animaniacs, write a song for the lead guy, Yakko." That was his audition piece. He went home and wrote that over a weekend. And then I got it and looked at it and I said, "This is crazy." So I read music and I had it to work on. I did it in one take, but I did have it memorized, and still, it's about the writing. Are you kidding me? I had been auditioning for Yakko and working with those people for months. And then Randy comes in and knocks that out. And it's pretty remarkable.
And if you haven't seen it yet, I've got to do the advertisement. You've got to go see Animaniacs in concert. If you ever know about it, with Rob and Mo and sometimes Chris will do, and it is, we just saw it. What a wonderful, wonderful way to spend an evening. So you've got to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank each and every one of you, just as these guys have, for joining us for the amazing cast of Teenage Mutant
And before you all go, we want you all to join in with us. All right, Eternal Power on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Of everybody on the stage, and then the audience can come up and take a selfie with the stage if you want to. We'll do both of those things, guys. You're awesome.